spent 8 years as a realtor and sales manager in the Philadelphia area. And for the last 15 years, he's been an account executive trainer with Realist, First American, and CoreLogic. And he joined Trend in 2010. So let's turn it over to Mike, and he's going to give us an update and kind of where things are right now with Bright MLS.
Great. Thanks very much, Bridget. Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here today. As Bridget mentioned, I had a slide. I didn't know you were going to tell everyone, but that's good. I've kind of been all over the place. Just want to give you kind of a sense of who I am. I understand the challenges of this business. I did it. I sold real estate. I ran an office. Actually, I worked as an appraiser for a while, an appraiser apprentice when you could still do that. And then, as you mentioned, I've been on the Trend side of things since 2010. But I was with CoreLogic before CoreLogic really was who they are now. It's amazing how that company has become better and better. I was even with a company called Realist in Philadelphia, and all of you here know Realist because that's your public records product. So to give you some sense of what Realist is and how that Realist product came into your MLS, Realist was a company in Philadelphia that had public records data in Philly, South Jersey, Delaware, even New York. We did some MLSs as well. We did the Philadelphia MLS. We did 3 of them in Philly. And I'll tell you, when I got my real estate license in 1988, there were 3 multiple listing services in the city of Philadelphia. If you wanted to sell something in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, there was another MLS there. You wanted to sell in Montgomery County, there was another MLS there. Like, looking back at that, it's hard to believe that happened. This is all pre-Trend even in that area. But long story short, the company Realist was the vendor that was being used. And as we became acquired by company after company, it was Transamerica, then First American, and then we became part of CoreLogic. And the way that the company name survived is in your public records program that you use with Sussex, your Matrix product. So anyway, kind of interesting to know that. Anyway, the only thing I'll add to this is that I'm the least hairy of all the account executives. I'm glad to tell you that too. So I'm here to bring you up to speed on sort of what's happening with Bright MLS. And I'm just going to start by just kind of giving you a sense of what the Bright vision is. There's a lot happening behind the scenes, as you can imagine. Lots of preparation, lots of people that are on our teams that are meeting with associations that are all part of this. I mean, Bright MLS is comprised of 43 different realtor associations, so it's a pretty big project. But in a basic way here, the Bright vision really is that we want brokers to have access to information to make the best business decisions possible and to be able to use for all your processes. This might not be something that you're used to here, or there's a lot of MLSs that really haven't had custom solutions available. Berkshire Hathaway, Fox and Roach in the Philadelphia metro area has had like a data feed from us for a long time that they requested. Patterson Schwartz takes our data. Anybody here from Patterson Schwartz? Patterson Schwartz takes the data from Trend, for instance, and kind of created their own MLS system. These are some of the things that we're going to bring into this, the Bright world as well. Secondly, we want agents and appraisers to have first access to more data. Really important. We want to really provide everybody with better tools for being able to access all this stuff. We also want consumers to have access to information necessary so that they can make informed decisions. That's really the 3 main vision points that I'll sort of mention here. To get more specific about some of the benefits of this stuff, we really want everyone to just be able to get more and more out of this system. In terms of details, broker centricity is a really big point with us. We believe that the broker is the primary customer and that the broker really must have control over all of the access to the listing content, including where the listing content gets distributed. The Bright MLS is going to provide all the participating brokerage firms that are part of the MLS with greater control and access to the listing content. That really kind of gets into what I just mentioned about some of the things that we've done for custom solutions for Berkshire Hathaway, Patterson Schwartz. This is not something that most MLSs around the country do. Broader listing coverage. Bright is going to offer robust property information in a broad geography, much broader geography. You guys I'm sure have seen the lay of the land. We're going to look at a map in a moment, but we want to give everybody access to a broad amount of listing data
in a geography where the clients, your clients and everybody else's clients are living, working, traveling, and moving. The clients don't see these boundaries, and it's about time that we sort of get up to speed with that too. That coverage area, by the way, spans 40,000 square miles, talking about 20 million consumers in this new footprint for Bright MLS. Again, I'll show you a map in a moment. MLS simplified. Bright MLS will reduce duplication so that a larger group of subscribers really have one set of rules. And I know that's been a problem. I was running around in Sussex County all day yesterday and ran into multiple people that said, and really this is the first time I think I've ever heard these comments in Sussex County, that, wow, we can't wait for Bright MLS to sort of kick in. And it's really the first time in 6 years of handling the state of Delaware, because I know a lot of you in the room, that is not generally what I heard when I came down here. So a lot of people, I think, are really interested in having this kind of take place. The idea here is to reduce this duplication, that you don't have to be a member of 4 different MLS organizations to get the data that you need. And one fee, one system, one process really to run your business successfully. It's a big part of what we're trying to do here, really trying to create a highly efficient marketplace. Reduced technology costs. Brokers and vendors will see the benefit of these reduced technology costs and freed internal resources to implement fewer MLS data sets into back office stuff. I was talking to an agent yesterday that was mentioning just the different feeds that have to come from different MLS organizations. It's kind of a hassle. If you have an IDX site, that type of thing, there'll be one feed sort of going out, and these will reduce some of the cost of technology. Also, improved products. Bright MLS system and the apps will run fast, user-friendly on mobile optimized technology and on desktop technology and all kinds of devices. Everything that subscribers and consumers are using and experiencing. We want this system to run perfectly on all of it. And we want them to have an opportunity to use something that is for our area and not have to go to all the national players to get this data. And it's a challenge too. That's the other thing that I run into in the field. I teach a lot of classes, and a lot of agents are very frustrated with the idea that a client finds a property on Zillow, goes to the agent and says, hey, we're maybe not even found one property. I found 10 properties that I'd like to go see on Saturday. And then you log into the MLS and you look up those properties, and what do you find? 7 or 8 of them aren't even for sale. I mean, what a challenge that is in the marketplace. We want to create some improved products to allow the consumer to have a better experience and for agents to have a better experience as well. These tools are going to go way beyond the basic MLS and public record search and reports. Some of the stuff that's coming, we're starting to get a sense of it in the company of what some of our business development people have been going out and doing to learn about things that we can plug into this system to give you access to tools that are amazing. And we're starting to see some of that. It's really cool. So the last thing I'll mention here in terms of the benefits of this Bright Vision is the ecosystem of robust property information. And this is really about public records. The idea that we manage and maintain these public records and really from the trend side always have, that's exactly the mentality we're taking into Bright MLS. So we're going to go out and get the parcel data. We're going to keep it up to date with who's the owner. Every time the taxes change, it's going to populate everywhere. The assessment, the land use code changes, a new parcel's created. It's a lot of work involved in maintaining public records. All these public records data fields will be really deeply integrated through the system too. So when you go to do a closing cost program, if the taxes have changed and the assessment data for 2017 has changed, that's going to populate on the listing in the closing cost information. It'll make it to the public records data. So it's kind of really going to be very deep throughout the program. It's also going to be used to drive a lot of analytics. We want to continue to bring innovative reports to you that you can use with your clients. There's a really cool report in Trend right now that really, frankly, has not really worked in Sussex County because we were not the primary MLS. A report called the Listing Performance Report that allows an agent to look up their listing and kind of compare some interesting things that the consumers never heard about with their listing compared to the competition. For instance, if you're a listing agent on a property, wouldn't it be interesting to know how many showings you're getting compared to how many showings your competitors are getting? That's really neat. You know, if you're trying to get a price change, this is a report you can use to talk to your seller about the idea that here's data that shows you're not getting shown as much as everybody else. So because we don't really know about all of the showings on your listings, that was not something you really could have access to. But in Bright MLS, you're going to have this listing performance report and a bunch of other stuff that's sort of about to come at you. So it's going to allow you to use these tools to drive your own marketing and do some extra research. A little more about the Bright vision in terms of the coverage area. I mean, here's the lay of the land. I would tell you, if you have not gone out yet to brightmls.com, put that on your to-do list today. If you go out to brightmls.com, the first thing that you'll see is a little kind of a film strip. There's not many people that remember what film strips are. That came up in a conversation yesterday. But you'll see a little video run that'll show the globe turning, and it'll show the mid-Atlantic area of the United States. And it'll sort of show all of the organizations that came together to form this MLS. So Bright MLS is going to serve parts of 6 states plus Washington, D.C., encompassing 85,000 real estate professionals, largest MLS in the country, serving over 20 million consumers, facilitating about 250,000 transactions per year, and with a value of over $85 billion. This is crazy. Bright's database in terms of public records is going to have over 12 million parcels of real estate in it. So this is pretty tremendous. It's amazing that 43 organizations were able to come together, 43 associations were able to come together and form this. But this is the lay of the land. The newest ones here to this, of course, Sussex Coastal, Cumberland County, New Jersey. You saw them over on the right side up here. Out in the Pennsylvania area here, there's RAYAC, the Realtor Association of York and Adams, Greater Harrisburg, Lebanon, and Lancaster, and then, of course, Trend and MRIS. So this is a tremendous new organization. It's a really exciting time. Some of the additional benefits here. I've kind of been talking about how big we are, but let me talk about sort of the smallness of it as well and the local feel. We're going to stay local with all of this as well. The Bright MLS board is made up of a mix of small, medium, and large brokerages, and with a balance of geographic representation from within the service area. It also includes an association representative from every association to offer that unique viewpoint about that local association's needs, concerns, all of that to the larger organization. You're going to have somebody called a customer success champion. By the way, that's the new account executive name. That's kind of that's the new name for what I do. Customer success champion. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet exactly. I like customer success. Champion sounds a little too rah-rah. I'm not sure. I'm going to talk to some folks about that. But the point is that the folks that do what I do, and that is visiting the offices and meeting with the brokers and speaking at the sales meetings and providing training, teaching classes at the association on how to use the MLS to be productive so that you can close deals. I don't know if you guys have ever had that here. I have spoken at meetings in Sussex County over the 6 years that I've been coming down here, but because we were, from the Trend side, we were never the primary MLS, that wasn't something that I did a lot, but that's something that I do a lot everywhere else and that we do a lot. So you're going to have folks that come down and work with you guys and interact with offices, the broker, the agent, and the association as well to teach classes, to be the liaison to ensure complete customer satisfaction. That's really what this is all about. Total member focused, or what we're calling members now, subscribers to the Bright MLS system. The new MLS is also going to include all the listing fields that are suited to particular markets. So down here in Sussex County and in Coastal, there's a lot of waterfront related stuff, farm related stuff, fields that may not be in our system now or that may be called something else. There's a lot of standardization going on behind the scenes, but we're gonna basically make sure that you guys have all the fields that you need. to be able to properly input a listing and also be able to search for the listing as well. And we're going to integrate with a buyer and seller closing cost tool that basically uses all the municipality, state, local taxes, allows you to produce a report that shows a buyer what it's going to likely cost to buy this property, or seller, here's what you'll walk away with. It'll do all the prorations, all the rules are built into about when the taxes are due, when they're paid, all that kind of stuff. And this is something that exists already in on the trend side of things, so it's an easy thing to add in here. The other thing that you'll notice as well is that Trend will be involved, will be involved in a government affairs program. This is something that you probably saw in an email blast recently. Also, something that was just recently on Inman News, if you saw that. This new program will really assist all the 43 stakeholder associations by basically boosting the efforts to be involved in governmental affairs. We really believe that local government affairs is critical to the industry and to the success of the real estate consumer and to the agents and brokers. When Bright MLS was formed, the participating associations and leadership agreed that it was really important for us to contribute to these efforts. So what we're talking about is a program that will basically help associations expand political influence on local government regulations, ensuring public policy decisions that get made that affect the real estate business, are creating a healthy climate for housing. So this is pretty great stuff. Again, something that from the Trend side we did for years, and I'm not sure how MRIS handled that stuff or even how your own association handled that stuff, but we believe that it's really important. Funds will be able to be used for employing dedicated government. Came together to form Bright MLS. And Lehigh Valley was not one of them. I know we're not supposed to talk bad about anybody. I'm not talking bad. It's just fact. Matter of fact, if you got the email from us called Bright, it was a Bright Leadership Update you should have received in the last week or so. The very last article in that email, there's a link to that. You should check that out. But Ryan said this level of support in terms of this government affairs program shows that Bright's commitment to supporting its stakeholder associations. It shows what our commitment is to stakeholder associations beyond traditional MLS services. It was really nice of him to say that. A couple of other things here. I'm almost done. And we'll open up for some questions. I'll try to answer any questions that anybody has. It's a really busy year for everybody behind the scenes. One of the first major milestones that we've hit here is that we've been able to unify our support and billing departments so that everybody that calls for help and everybody that gets a bill for services it's all coming from Bright MLS now. We've been working for months really to prepare for this type of stuff, other parts of the business. It really achieves the goal of a single point of contact for when any subscriber calls into our office or live chats us. Basically allows that for customer-facing operations that we have something in place to provide a unified support experience to anybody that contacts us for help. MRIS and Trend support teams are merging together. As a matter of fact, they have merged together officially to become one unified customer support center in name now, and then with the tools they use and how they answer the phone. If you call us starting, I think, next week, thank you for calling Bright MLS. That's what you'll hear. No longer is it going to be the other organization names being used. Starting in early April, today is the 31st? 30th, okay. So starting, I think it's April 1st, there'll be one phone system for both our Rockville and our King of Prussia office locations. So the old numbers will still work, but basically there'll be a support toll-free number. It's 1-844-55-BRIGHT. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 6. So all kinds of help available for anybody that's struggling with anything in using the system. Anybody can contact us through phone or, as I mentioned, a live chat session or via email, of course, as well. There'll be one platform that subscribers use to update their contact information and pay their bill as well. That's being worked on now. The site is PCI compliant and secure. Members will be able to pay by credit card or have an automatic debit, ACH, to their checking account. They'll also be able to set up an auto pay so that every time the bill comes, it'll just get paid. There'll be all kinds of tools for managing the office as well. The broker or the designated person in the office that runs the office will be able to view or update the office roster, who works at my office, who's no longer here. They'll be able to access all the invoices within the office. Eventually, the person in charge at the office will also be able to pay the bill for somebody if that's kind of what's set up with that person. That's not live yet. That we're getting ready to go live with that. And you'll also be able to submit new member applications. So any new agent that's going to come on board with you, if you're getting a new office assistant or something like that, be able to go right to this site, grab everything you need, and just kind of hit a button, and then the process begins. All of this will be features that you and your agents will be able to use once you've converted to Bright. So it doesn't really matter for you now, but once this all happens, and I'm going to give you a timeline here in a moment to give you a sense of sort of when everything's going to go down. So what else is happening? A lot of work behind the scenes, building the system, establishing rules, planning conversions. One of the things that we recently have had some success with, and it's almost done, is sort of the new look and feel of the new site. So this is kind of what you're going to see. Some version of this will be the homepage when you log in to brightmls.com. We're really building it. It's the gateway to everything. It'll have a mega menu kind of along the top that lets you click and sort of find where to search or how to go out and change your phone number if you got a phone number change, or to look up another agent or run statistics. Those menus will follow through on every page, so no matter where you're at, those mega menus will be there. There'll also be a space for brokers and associations to post news articles into the system, so that if you're the broker of an office and you want to put out a message to everybody on your team about a meeting you're having next week, or about a potluck dinner you're having, or hey, we're going to go out and grab beers Friday night, whatever, you'll be able to put those kind of messages and only have the people in your office or in your company be able to see those messages. The same thing with associations. Associations will be able to, association staff will be able to put networking events in here, upcoming trainings, CE opportunities, that kind of things. We're working on add change right now. So add change would be, adding the listing into the system, changing the price, updating the status, updating the expiration date. There's a new add change module sort of being incorporated into the system. It'll be very intuitive, really easy to use. The same overall look and feel is what you'll sort of see throughout the system. And the database, behind the scenes, we're creating a unified listing database that speaks to the local needs as well. We've met really with each MLS so far, and we're continuing to meet to review the profile sheets. We have something on the trend side called a profile sheet that was sort of a checklist, and it looked just like what you would see when you would go to enter your listing into the system. Jojo, you've used this thing before, I'm sure. It's like a checklist so that when you walk through the house, you don't forget to take the count of how many ceiling fans they have, or what kind of heat they have, or what type of structure is in the basement, that type of thing. So we want to make sure that everything that's on whatever everyone else calls the profile sheets, that all of those fields are made available in whatever we're doing in this new add change part of the program. So we're continuing to meet with all the MLS staffs around the region. And based upon those meetings, I think we figured out what we need to have, and it's going to continue as well. I think there's probably still more to talk about. Also, in terms of progress updates, some rule decision stuff to tell you about here. A draft of the rules and regulations for Bright has also been finalized. A team was assembled with a rep from each market who identified and worked together collaboratively to pick with everyone else the best from each market. Decisions were made on property types, including a separate type for farm. That was a big thing. Trend right now has a category called lots, land, and farm. MRIS calls it farms. I'm not sure what you guys call farms down here. Farmers? Yeah, probably some version of it. But there's a lot of little things like that. Like in one MLS, this field might be called this. In the other MLS, it might be called this. There's a standardization that needs to happen as part of this entire process, and that's already underway. And we welcome input on that kind of stuff as well. But I think we got a lot of it already. Statuses. What are we going to call a property that's now gone through the process from being for sale to now closed? It's in some MLSs it's called closed. Some MLSs it's called sold. Some of it's called settled. The word closed was decided to be the one we're going to go with, and it'll be more consistent with sales and rentals too. Like for instance, in Trend now, if you have a rental listing and it goes through that process and you put the tenant into the property, you have to really go through a process where it almost is like you're entering an agreement of sale, and at the end it's called settled. That doesn't really make sense for rental. So closed, I think, makes more sense that it's a closed sale transaction or it's a closed rental transaction. Non-realtor participation was deemed to be allowed in this MLS, so anybody that's not a member of a realtor organization will be allowed to be part of it. It was decided at the Vision Team meeting last year, and Trend and MRS before both previously allowed non-realtors as well, so that's not really a big change. Any non-realtor organization or member will pay a higher fee, and so the onus would be on them to, if they don't want to pay that higher fee, to become a realtor member. No other specifics really yet to share. What changes is going to vary greatly in every market here. We need to carefully prepare all of this stuff, and we're going to have more to share with you as we progress, because really nothing's set in stone yet. There's a lot of big decisions that have been made, but not everything's done. In terms of some dates and onboarding schedules, so you have some sense of what's happening here. What we're up to right now is all of this other behind-the-scenes stuff to integrate data sets into ours, and start grabbing data on contacts in the MLS and saved searches. All of that kind of stuff is going to be being worked on as well. But the timeline is this: we're going to really deal with Keystone. That's out in Harrisburg. That's the Greater Harrisburg Association. Well, Keystone is adjacent to that, but Keystone MLS will go in September. October, Greater Harrisburg. November, Rayak, that's York and Adams, and Sussex County, Delaware, you guys. So you're looking at probably sometime in November. I'm not sure at this point whether we're talking before Thanksgiving or after, but we'll have more specific dates coming at you soon. December, Coastal will go, and Cumberland County, New Jersey. And a lot of these dates have to do with, and in Q4 2017, throughout that last quarter of the year, MRIS and Trend will also come together into the Bright platform as well. But there's just a lot happening here to make this occur, and don't think that this is the only time you're going to hear this timeline. You're going to hear a lot more about this stuff coming up. Just to give you a sense of sort of that countdown, this is sort of the way it'll go down. 75 days prior, there'll be some welcome packets that will come out to all members. There'll be participant and IDX agreements that will come out to everybody to make sure everybody's using the same contract. 60 days prior, the converting of all the off-market listings and existing subscriber data from the entire MLS will happen behind the scenes. All technical stuff here. 45 days prior, third-party vendor access will go live. So anybody that has a third-party vendor that they're using for IDX or any other site, really over a month before, about a month before, 30 days, pre-conversion access and account setup and orientation emails. So we want to give every member in the organization that's being converted over, we want to allow that subscriber, that agent, that broker to have about a month to get in there and play. And we just went through a large conversion last year, by the way, from the Trend side. We took everyone that was using almost 30,000 agents from the old version of our program, and we put them into this matrix-based platform that we use now. And this is sort of the way that we did it. So this is very similar to that. And what we found, too, with the 30 days prior, giving everyone pre-conversion access to the information, not many people went in and did it. Everybody waited until the day before, and then they went in and logged in. Like, how do I use this thing now? That kind of thing. But we want to give everybody a chance to get in and play, where you can go in and do searches. It'll be live data, where you're not going to want to put your listings in there yet, but you'll be able to add a new contact, that kind of stuff. Start sending emails from it. But it really will go live on a very specific day. Conversion night, the night before, we're going to take all the existing listings that are happening, that are in the system, convert those, move all the contacts over, all the saved searches, and move them into the new Bright system. And then literally the next day, that person will go live on day one, and then the subscriber begins fully using Bright MLS. It seems like a lot, but it goes by really quickly, and it was very seamless, by the way. We had very few issues with the conversions that we did, and they went really well. I was really surprised how well they went. I was expecting a lot of problems, and we didn't really have them, and it was because of the level of detailed analysis and work going on behind the scenes to make it all happen. So nothing seamless, but there will be hiccups and there will be issues. But the amount of training and support that you'll have throughout this entire process will be, I think, unprecedented. A little bit more. There's upcoming meetings set up here, and some still to be set up between you, your staff, your members, and everything as they want. And I can tell you from experience, agents and brokers will come to more than one of them. But the other thing to tell you here is that since you guys are already using a matrix-based product from CoreLogic, I think that the transition to the version that will be in Bright MLS will be really easy, because the screens pretty much look the same. Once you get into doing searches, generating reports, emailing, portal, all that kind of stuff, it's pretty much the same. So I think it'll be a pretty easy transition. So what changes will you see? Really, honestly, not much yet. We don't really think there's not much that's going to change over the next few months that you need to do anything about. We tell you, just in the meantime, continue to use your MLS to enter, update, search for your listings. Your current system and your coverage area won't change at all at this point. Contact Bright MLS for support, compliance, and training for any questions that you might have. And just continue to do business. Have a great spring market. Hope everybody makes money. Behind the scenes, there's plenty happening to make this a really successful effort.